We'll do 10 minutes and we'll do your top 5.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm not in love with my top 5 today, but that's fine. Let's do it.
Well,
Let's get into Guardians.
That means we might be able to make fun of you.
You're in the seat, so you're doing it today no matter what.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, and Bull brought that up on the call, and I thought the same thing. When I got this, I go, I think we did it.
Yeah.
But in the rundown for this segment of the show was which Guardian's going to benefit most from the new rules. And I on both fronts, I think it's Jose Ramirez on the shift and the bigger bases. But I think Quan is going to also enjoy. Teams did shift on Quan last year. Not a lot, but they did. He just puts the ball in play. So I think if you put the ball in play, you're more likely to benefit from a field that has more holes in it now than previously did.
I also think if you look at the numbers, just in general, a guy like Naylor, lefties will benefit because teams are more comfortable overshifting a lefty
much more
than a righty.
Yes. Because of the double play scenario, if there's a runner on, the double play scenario gets really wonky if you've got a third baseman now where the shortstop is, and the shortstop is playing second, essentially.
I was looking at some statistics of, it was 2012 lefties when they pulled the ball versus 2022 as opposed to righties.
Yeah.
And for righties, it wasn't this huge disparity. For lefties, it was like a 50-point drop in batting average.
Really?
Some maybe 40, but it was like some huge amount since shifts have become big.
And to that point, I think Jose Ramirez is the guy, so I went with two different ones. The first one was Miles Straw, just because he was 21 of 22 stealing bases last year. The bases are bigger. Yeah. He may not ever hit for a super high average. I don't think the shift really affects him, but hey, I'll take a guy who hits 225 but steals 40 bases.
Yeah.
In my lineup if he's the one hole. The second guy was Josh Bell, to exactly your point. He mashes righties. He's a switch hitter. Not terrible against lefties, but great against righties.
Not like Naylor against lefties.
And I was looking up, and I found a Baseball Savant. Are you guys familiar with that website?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't very good. That had every analytic and hit spray chart. 75% of his balls hit his BABIP. Balls in play were to the right side of the field. Pull side from the left side of the plate.
Right. BABIP is batting average on balls in play.
I'm getting my analytics confused here,
but that's still it's a metric that you can glean some information from.
And his exit velo was significantly higher as a lefty, and it was always significantly higher to the pull side.
He's much better left-handed.
Which is not uncommon because that's your pull side.
He's adequate as a right. He's not Naylor. He as a right-handed hit, like Naylor's not a switch hitter, but as a right-handed hitter against lefties, Bell's an adequate player. Naylor's useless against lefties.
And I didn't realize with Bell, by the way, it's a 1-year deal with a player option for the second year.
It is.
I wasn't aware of that.
I think they've done that in 17 when they brought over, who was the guy they brought in from the Blue Jays?
Encarnacion?
No, that was a multi-year deal.
Was it? I thought it was 2 with an option. I thought it was 1 with a second year option.
It was definitely at least 2 years.
Yeah. But didn't they pick up his option after season 1?
No, I think it was a we can double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was a multi-year deal. There was an option at the end.
I look at that, though, as a 2-year deal. I mean, if he's good and we want to keep him, we can.
Well, no, Bell has a player option.
It's a player option.
He does.
And Bell said, in a quote I looked at, Bell said, I love the fact that there's no shift. It's going to help me get my power back, and I'm using that player option as motivation to come out and absolutely smash this year.
We want him to not pick up that option because he's only picking up that option if he has a bad year.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So, maybe you can re-sign him there if you want.
Well,
but
they probably won't.
I'll take a great season from him.
Give me one great season, but I think with the shift and that extra motivation, I'm expecting a monster year from Josh Bell this year.
I hope so.
One way or another.
It's going to be a big upgrade at that position. I think if we upgrade at catcher, we really. I don't even count center field as a weakness because he's so good defensively and on the bases. But it would be nice to upgrade center field, too.
Yeah, Miles Straw's the only weakness in the lineup.
Yeah.
Is Zunino a lefty or righty hitter, by the way?
Is who?
Zunino.
He's a righty.
I think he's I don't know why I was thinking he was a switch hitter, but no, he's probably a righty.
I think he's a
righty. Now I got to look it up. I don't remember.
One of the things I've always been fascinated about, Bull, and I'm sure you spent a lot of time thinking about this too, is the mechanics of a left-handed swing versus the mechanics of a right-handed swing. Lefties are typically they're great low ball hitters.
Yes.
Righties are not as good at hitting low pitches, and I'm just fascinated by that.
It's so weird.
It is really weird.
And that's why I think we always think of the lefty swing as the prettier swing.
It is.
The Darryl Strawberry, the Ken Griffey Jr.
It's the more natural fluid.
Yeah.
Someone once told me that has something to do with the fact that you are running towards first base. And as a hitter, you subconsciously or not are starting that process. It's almost like when a wide receiver is like this and the ball's not in his hands yet and he's doing this. He's running with the ball before he gets it. Your momentum as a hitter is ultimately going to have to take you to first base.
Right.
Well, with a lefty, that swing and the fall off
takes you to first.
You're already down there. Whereas for a righty, you have to finish the process of swinging, and then reverse your momentum 90 degrees.
And Zunino is a right-handed hitter. He's
a right-handed hitter.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on guys that will struggle with some of these new rules changes?
Well, when I came up with the topic last night, when Mike and I were talking about it, I was thinking about like Class A and how long he takes between pitches. I haven't heard you guys mention our pitching lineup and the pitch clock yet.
I mean, I'm more worried about Karinchak than I am Class A because Karinchak's a lunatic.
He's so
and he's
fidgety.
Like Class A, I think, he's going to have to adjust. I'm just not that worried about it. These guys are, you adjust. You have 5 weeks, 6 weeks of spring training. Let's go. Get used to it.
With guys on base, they get 20 seconds, and I think that's reasonable. I will tell you that from watching what little bit I watched over the weekend, there were times where the 15-second clock felt
it goes
really quick.
I know.
You know how you're watching a basketball game and you're not looking at the shot clock, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, it's at 5. Where did that go?
Yeah.
They didn't waste their time bringing it over midcourt, half court, and they made a couple of passes, and now it's time to start thinking about that shot.
I think in the long run, we're all going to love this. There'll be a couple of times where it affects a game and we'll get annoyed.
Yeah.
But in the long run, as players adjust, and as more and more young players think the game is getting younger and younger, the young players are used to this now in the minors.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's no guy who's like 25 and younger that's going to complain about this.
Have you heard from anybody that just hates it yet?
Fans?
Yeah. Or media? Because I have not. I haven't heard from anybody
really.
that has flat out said,
no,
this is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that yet.
We'll have those complaints here and there, but I think by the end of the year we'll be like, wow, I'm glad the games are quicker.
And you know what I hope we're saying by July?
Yeah.
Remember when we would have to carve out like a 3.5, 4 hour block to come to a game? And now we can be home at 9:30.
I mean, you talk about not wanting to spend as much time in front of the TV, not wanting to spend it. Well, I mean, I want to watch a game in 2.5 hours.
We all do.
When we were kids, the games were faster.
Yeah, they were.
I remember every time Greg Maddux would pitch, it seemed like it was a 2-hour game.
Yeah. Well, he didn't throw balls.
Yeah.
He didn't give up runs.
Right.
And
part of it.
And he was quick.
Part of it, when we were younger, you didn't have the pitching changes like you have now.
I'm wondering, do you know if the between innings time has ever changed?
I don't know that, but I did see that some pitchers are going to take golf carts from the dugout to the mound.
Is that
to speed up, because the clock starts as soon as they make the pitching change. That clock starts them to warm up. So to save time, instead of sprinting down there, they're going to take a golf cart.
I think we read the Mets were bringing back.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm serious.
Real?
Yeah.
They used to do that.
Listen, it used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Used to be a thing. Not every relief pitcher did it.
No.
But here comes the cart driving right on the field.
Yeah.
It was definitely a thing.
There was.
It'd be interesting if every ballpark goes to that.
How do you become I want to be the golf cart driver.
That'd
that
be
just
a great
shuttles
gig, wouldn't it?
back and forth, Class A and Karinchak.
And
those
it's brought
guys.
to you by Uber, so the whole thing's wrapped in Uber.
Brought to you by Steve. How do we get UCSS? We know Curtis. We're going to go with Curtis. UCSS needs to be the sponsor of the Guardians bullpen cart.
I think instead of playing their walkout song through the entire stadium, they should just put a big boom box on the cart then. So it just kind of.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think the game's going to be. I think the game of baseball will be more different this year from last than at any point in my fandom.
I mean, think about
the designated hitter change.
That was huge.
Was big, really big, but it didn't fundamentally change every pitch.
No, right.
And this changes every single game that you go to will be different.
I feel like the 15-year-old Adam would have hated all these rules, and now I love them all.
Really?
Which is crazy because they're targeted for younger.
I know that, but I was 15 in the 80s, and
I see what you mean.
As a kid in New York, you were obsessed with baseball. I didn't have a single friend I knew that didn't love baseball. Everybody. Most kids now don't love baseball.
And we played it.
Everybody played.
We played it. We'd go to the park. You'd have pickup games. It was never a problem to get. You don't always have 18 people.
Right.
Sometimes you had, right field was an out automatically.
Right.
You'd play pitcher's hand. But if you had 12, 14 guys, you could have a fun game. And we never had a hard time finding players. We would all ride the bikes around the neighborhood. We'd gather up, and a lot of girls in the neighborhood played too. We had a lot of tomboy girls in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we would go to the park, and we would play for 3-4 hours until it was dinner time to come home.
Well, now every kid's sports is so structured now. We would just go to the park and play. That was it.
I go by baseball parks now, and it's obvious these haven't been used in years.
I know.